Welcome to the winning bid, automating the RFP process. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the winning bid, episode 3. Today, I have two guests, Nico Nelissen and Evrar Tsertsevs. The topic of today's podcast is data and AI. And Nico, you are more or less the AI expert or the data expert. And Evrar, you are also a data expert, but specifically on Sequesto. But first, you, Nico. Could you please introduce yourself and share a bit of your background?
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. I've been in startups my whole career, and I wouldn't call myself a data expert. I'm more of a data fan, I would say. I love to explore what you can do with data, but I had to learn everything from scratch, basically. And that's what I've been doing in my whole career. In each of the startups where I've been part of, always trying to see what data do we have and what can we do with that data.
Okay. So, how did you become involved with Sequesto and what led you to become an investor?
Right. I'm very lucky to be part of a network which is called Taurus. It's an investment network of entrepreneurs, people that are in startups or scale ups and that want to help out other entrepreneurs. And within the network, we encountered Sequesto, who was building these very cool products. And I immediately fell in love with the product because I felt the pain myself of answering RFPs. For example, in my previous company, Blender, which was a data integration platform, we had to answer a lot of RFPs, and I had the struggle of each time feeling that I was answering the same questions over and over, but slightly different. And I never realized that there's actually a solution to that problem. But then when we came across Sequesto within the Taurus network, yeah, I immediately saw the opportunity for the product because I've had that pain myself so many times.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood. Now back to your previous careers. You're a serial entrepreneur. Um, can you tell us a bit more about the touch points with data? You said you're a data fan.
Right.
So, and you just told us about Blender. Are there other cases where you came in touch with data and what sparked your interest?
Definitely. The first two companies, long time ago, were HostBasket and QLayer. HostBasket was a hosting provider, the good old data center infrastructure before there was cloud. And then HostBasket became part of a telco here in Belgium. So we started building a QLayer, which was actually cloud technology before we called it like that. And at that time, I was still very much involved with the basics of storing data, storage, bandwidth, and then the next company was TapCrowd. We were building mobile apps at the time that was new. The iPhone came out, and we saw the opportunity of building apps, and those apps could also capture a lot of data, context, what people are doing. So that was the first time where I really started engaging with data and okay, we have all this user activity and what can we do with that? And so that was the first time I really started diving into data. And then the company after that was Blender, as I mentioned before. That's a data integration platform. And we started building Blender because we felt the need to do more with data that was in our business applications. The simple example, you have your CRM with customer data, but you also have a marketing platform and you have accounting software. And those tools, they don't really work together. They're all data silos. And we were trying to solve that problem of combining the data from your CRM and your accounting software. And it was just so hard to do. And that's why we started building Blender. And Blender became a data integration platform, which is basically a visual environment where you build workflows. And the workflows will actually get data from one platform, for example, your CRM, and they will push it into other platforms. So that way you can break down those data silos and make sure that all your software starts working together.
Right. It sounds a bit similar to some things that Sequesto is indeed doing by integrating data. Yes. And then your current project, because you are still investing in other companies and you've created your own latest company called
Yeah,
Pelican.
exactly.
Can you say something about that?
Yeah, sure. So Blender was acquired by Click, the BI company, right? Click Software, Click View, and Click Sense. So I spent a couple of years at Click, and after that part at Click, I really wanted to build an all-in-one data platform because during my time at Click, I learned about the modern data stack, which is all about building a data warehouse in your company, a central place to store all your data. But the data warehouse by itself is not enough. You need a lot of different tools. You need ETL software to get your data from all your different sources into your data warehouse. You need other software for the governance. You need software to visualize your data, and then yet something else to monitor the quality of your data. So you end up building this whole stack of different tools, and that becomes your modern data stack. But it's really hard to do. And so with Pelican, we are combining all of that technology into one platform so that as a company, it becomes easier to have your central data warehouse automatically get all your data in from, again, all the different sources that you have, your CRM, your accounting, your internal databases. And then when you have that data, you can start combining it, cleaning it, using it for visualizations, or you can start using it for machine learning and all the different things that you can do with data.
Right. Sounds like an exciting project. Now, Sequesto is also using AI. Can you say something about that? Because you've also learned a few things on the way
Right.
about AI. What could you tell us, for example, about different generations of AI?
Right.
That are
I think
around?
things are going super fast, and we all realize that just a
Mhm.
few years ago. I guess we were at the first generation of AI, which I would call classic machine learning. For me, it's I would say the algorithms that we might have learned in school about clustering data, maybe doing some predictions on your sales or predicting the churn of your customers. That for me is generation one. It's the classic machine learning, and that's still very valuable today. But then a couple of years later, we learned about deep learning, and for me that's like the second generation, where you use tools like TensorFlow, neural networks, which can be a bit of a black box, but at the same time they can be super powerful, of course. And as if that was not enough, then soon after came the LLMs, the generative AI, which is now the hot topic of the day, where we have companies like OpenAI. They have built ChatGPT, and we've all played with ChatGPT. It's like a virtual chat that has the knowledge of the whole internet. And that to me is really the third generation of AI. And I believe that in each company, you really have to think about, okay, what can that mean for my business? Um, what can we do with basic models? How can we predict certain things? Then how can we apply deep learning? And eventually, I think we should all start thinking about, okay, what does it mean to use generative AI within my own business?
Now, Evrar, I've got a question for you.
Yep.
How does Sequesto's platform differentiate itself from in the market, considering the variety of solutions that are available?
Yeah. So we do different things from competitor. The first one is that we take care of all the documentation. So competitors focus on question and answer pairs. So they try to find similar questions whenever there is a new questionnaire and so on. But we also do that. But next to that, we also tackle all the documentation of the company. So we realize that a lot of the information is not only present in the old questionnaire that they've answered, but it's present in the documentation of the company, being, for example, white paper, product descriptions, and so on. And so what we do is that whenever they load those documents into our platform, we automatically cut those documents into sections, because it's easier to search for the relevant piece of content in a smaller section than in a full big text document. And then whenever they need to answer a question, what we are able to do with AI, mainly it's finding the right section, and then within that section, the right piece of text that is useful to answer the question. So that's one thing that we do, I think, differently. The other thing is that we allow our user, we have two workflows, in fact, and that's our main workflow. It's extracting the questions out of the document, working on the questions, and then putting all the question and answer back into the proposal. But we also allow the other workflow, which is working directly in the original document. So we have integrated Word and Excel editor into our platform. And so whenever the documents are really complex, or there are forms they need to fill in, or they need to follow a very strict structure, we allow them to work directly into the documents. So that's also a differentiator. And then the third thing that we do differently, I think, is the management of the attachments. So whenever they answer tenders or RFPs, they need to provide the whole set of documents with the response of the RFP. And we help them to detect those attachments, to put all of them into a zip file with a table of content that they can afterwards send back to the client. But we also help them to manage those attachments in the library, so they can put expiration dates. We send reminder and so on. And so I think that's the main differentiator from competitors.
And I believe this is only possible thanks to AI, because some of these things,
Yeah.
this is where
fact-
you make use of the third generation of
Yeah, exactly.
artificial
So
intelligence.
we don't use AI for the sake of using AI, but so we identify the pains, and then we build feature to resolve those pains of the customer,
Exactly.
and then we use AI to optimize the processes, and that's how it works.
So, can you say us a bit more about how Sequestro will help people to collaborate? Because very rarely people work alone on answering RFPs. They will work in a team.
Exactly.
I believe we mentioned this a little bit already in the first episode, but can you elaborate a bit more how collaboration works?
Yeah, so as you said, answering a tender is not a single person job. So there are teams working on the same tenders at the same time. So we try to bring people together in Sequestro so that they can collaborate better. And so we have multiple features for that. So for example, whenever someone is extracting information, questions out of a document, we allow this person to quickly assign the questions to different individuals. In fact, you need to know that whenever in the team that answer the tender, there are two main types of user. We have the coordinator and the contributor. So coordinator are coordinating the full project. That's their main job, while contributor are more like subject matter expert that bring their expertise on specific questions and so on. And so we build the platform to help the contributor to manage the work and to easily distribute the work to the different contributor. And so they can quickly assign questions, attachments, and so on to contributors. They can then afterwards send reminders automatically. So we have built also a nice dashboard where they can track the progress of each and every single team member. And so they can see if someone is lagging behind, or then they can quickly send a reminder, or someone is on holiday, so they can reassign the work to another person. And then the last thing that we implemented is the real-time collaboration within documents. So as I said, we integrated the Excel and the Word editor, and with that, we also have now a real-time. It works real-time, so they can work together in the same documents. They can leave comments, have track changes, and so on.
Okay. Can you also say a few things about possible other integrations and tools people might be using?
So what is the main tool that people use today to answer tender is Word and spreadsheet, Excel. So that's what I just said. We integrated that into our platform, so that's now there. But in the current roadmap, what we have in terms of integration is SharePoint and the Teams environment. For example, first SharePoint, whenever they connect their SharePoint to our system. What we want is that when there is a file that is uploaded or updated, we automatically retrieve that file and extract the content automatically. And then the teams would be more like when they analyze a tender, we try to automatically identify the different types of information. And one of those types is tasks. So they need, for example, to fill in a questionnaire, or they need to fill in a form, or they need to send this particular email to that particular person at a certain time. And so we try to automatically detect that. And the next step would be that we then create those tasks automatically into the team's environment so that they can work there with their preferred tool.
Right. And you can also
Sequester.
track, of course, which tasks have been completed and which are still pending.
Exactly.
Okay, understood. How do you ensure that the platform is user-friendly?
So good question. So we work with a full-time designer that spent really a lot of time in researching, looking at the design, but not only the UI but also the UX. Like we have two main tools that we use for the design, like that our designer is using. One is for the prototyping, and that's where we really look at the workflows, the button where we need to place them into the platform. So that the next step is always logical. So once I've answered my question, it's logic that I need to click there. That's what comes to mind. So that's first step. And then second step is read the UI. So that's more the design. And for that, we use another tool to create the frames and so on. And so that's, we really spend a lot of time there. And then once we put those features live, we always test, and we are always in contact with our customers. We have weekly or bi-weekly meetings with them. So we always gather feedback. And if we miss something or something does not seem that logical to them, then we always make corrections afterwards. And we
Right.
try to follow up on what we have deployed.
And I assume this will greatly enhance the learning time.
Yeah.
Just very quick onboarding of customers.
Exactly.
Okay, understood. So, Evrach, can you talk about the AI capabilities of Sequester's platform and how they enhance the RFP process?
Sure. So we use AI in different parts of our product. So as I already explained, in the library, so that's where you upload all your company information. We use AI to detect the sections, extract the information out of the document. So that's the first step that we do there. Then when we move to the project side, so that's the other main part of our platform. The project side is where you answer the RFPs and so on. And there we have multiple steps. The first step is what we call document analysis. And in that step, we help our customer to analyze the file that they have received from their customers. So that means they receive an RFP, a big document, a PDF document of 60 pages, and they need to go through that document to find what are the questions, what are the requirements, what are the tasks, what are the attachments that they need to provide. And so what we do there with our AI model is that we automatically detect those different categories of information, and we show that to our user. So that's super valuable because they gain a lot of time. They go way faster through the document analysis, and then just go quicker through that phase. Then once that is done, they move to the next step, which is answering the questions that they've identified in the first step. When they answer the questions, we have there two capabilities. One is pure keyword search. So we allow them to search with keywords in the library. We augment a bit that search with synonyms, translations. We try to also automatically detect the relevant keywords within the questions. But the main AI part is when they search for similar questions or relevant pieces of text within sections with AI. And so there we have implemented also very strong models, AI models, where we are able to find the right candidates, like the right similar questions in the libraries that they can reuse that answer. And then once they've found the right candidates, they reuse the answer. We have a third model, which is like more what Nico discussed earlier, the generative AI model. And so we allow them to rephrase the answer that was provided before. So they can summarize, they can extend, they can simplify. You could even, for example, ask the AI model, can you rephrase that question that was written for client X, but now it's for client Y, and that client Y is very cautious about ecological things and environments. Enter, and then the AI model would rework the answer for our client. And so once they've answered all the question, the next step is to put everything into a proposal template. So there we help them to create that proposal. So they can work in the Word document, they can drag and drop the question, they can automatically fill in the proposal at the right place. Later, what we're gonna bring is the boilerplate functionality. So that means they will be able to drag and drop also pieces of text that are relevant and build the proposal that way. And so that's basically how we use AI throughout the full platform.
Nico, you have so much experience on data and on AI, and now you're an investor in Sequesto.
Right.
How do you plan on bringing some of that knowledge to Sequesto?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. First of all, I enjoy doing brainstorms with the team, thinking about all the capabilities, what is possible with AI. We also exchange a lot of knowledge. You've been doing a lot of cool stuff with AI models. I, on my end at Pelican, we've been doing a few different things, and so it's just nice to share results, what works, what is more difficult to do. And then I hope also more in general, being an entrepreneur, I've been in the business a long time. I hope that I can share some of my experiences on different levels. I think especially the security from day one. Actually, that's been a very important topic, and every company should be doing all of these steps these days. So in terms of security, how do you organize that? What are the certifications that you need? So those are some of the things where I hope I can provide some feedback to the team as well.
Understood. How would you see the future in terms of features, new capabilities, especially in AI, for example?
Yeah.
Is there anything you can share already
Sure.
with our listeners?
So the future of Sequesto in terms of product development, we have two main development. First, we have the current features, and we want to go deeper in those features. And then second, we will add additional feature. So the additional feature will be, for example, the integrations that I've spoken about, the task creation automatically into the Teams environment, detecting other type of data. What do we do with those requirements? For example, that's what we're gonna bring next. And then, most importantly, in fact, it's going deeper in the current feature. So now we have our core product, which is extracting data, answering questions, and then putting everything to a proposal. And now we need to refine our AI models to go, just to be better at what we currently do. So, for example, on the document analysis, we make proposition of types of data to our customers. So when they load their file, we show them the questions, the attachments, and so on. But we allow them to make corrections. So that means they can reject proposition that we have done, or they can add other types of data that we missed. And that, in fact, is really used to train further the model that we currently have. And so the more they use the platform, the more we can train our model, and the better the model becomes. And that's really the loop that we try to create with the learning of the platform. And I think that will be our main focus in the current.
This actually resembles AI fine-tuning.
Yep.
Basically, this is really improving the model.
Yep.
Very often, AI is considered as black box, where people don't
Yep.
have too much control over what's happening. But if you would manage to pull this off, you would have the ability to improve the model
Yeah, exactly.
over time.
And the great thing is that the customer, by using our tool, day one, they can already leverage AI because we already have strong model out there. But by just using our tool, they don't even know it, but they are refining the model automatically. And so the more they use the tool, the more the tool becomes better, and
Right.
and the less time they will spend on the next RFP.
Understood. Yes.
I think that fine-tuning is a very strong technology, because these AI models, they have a lot of generic knowledge out of the box that makes them so powerful. That's why ChatGPT is able to answer any question in any language, because it has all that generic knowledge. But what it typically misses is that domain knowledge, specific knowledge on one topic that is important within a company. And fine-tuning basically means that you add this little layer of additional knowledge to an existing model. So you have the generic knowledge. How do I write in English? But you also have your domain knowledge. And I think that's super exciting to use it, of course, within the context of answering an RFP. But as I said before, I think every company needs to think about, okay, what is that latent knowledge that we have?
Of course.
What documents do we have in our company that we can use, which contains a lot of knowledge that only we have? And now we have a chance of using that to basically learn or fine-tune a model and then use that to automate stuff, to do new things.
I think these layers are, of course, very industry specific. The company may be active in finance or in software development or in building. And whatever they do, this specific layer is very specific to that industry. And that is something that nobody can bring unless themselves. They have to add that and inject that into the system.
And then what we also see is that there is a lot of nuance in the data of our customer. For example, we have what we call exclusion criteria. So these are criteria, if you don't meet them, you would be excluded of the bid. But you have then selection criteria, red flags. So red flags are, for example, penalty of 1 million euro, then you would consider that as a red flag. But those are very close one another. And so the AI is not always, like the generic model, are not always capable of identifying the different categories. And so that's why we need to further train. And so that's one thing. And then the second thing is that among different customers, they could label the same thing differently. So that's also one thing that we will bring in the future, is that we will have one big generic model for our customer, but then the fine-tuning will be done by clients. Because they can, for example, one specific red flag could be just an important information for another client. And so we need to be able to differentiate those from.
I have one more question for you, Evrar. All this data and all the AI also raises the question of security, but also data privacy. How do you ensure that data stays confidential and stays safe? Because it goes to external tools. So you do need to take care of that.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, we worked a lot during the last months on our security. So we are in the process of ISO 27001 and SOC 2 certification. So we have worked a lot on our infrastructure. We have added a lot of security layers. So now I'm really confident when I say that our platform is secured. We have done pen tests and we had really good results. So on our own security, we are really fine. And now, as you said, we share data with external companies because we need to have access to their models sometimes. It depends on the capability and the model. But for that, we always pay very close attention to the terms and conditions. So if the data is not protected on their end, we don't share anything. We make sure that it's only used by ourselves and not by other teams, or they do not share our data with any other third parties. And I think that's how we tackle security at the moment. It's a question.
Excellent. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time.
My pleasure. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to be here.
Thanks a lot, Eric.
See you soon.
Thank you for joining us on The Winning Bid, Mastering the RFP Process.